Hello YouTubers, today I'm going to be doing a retro review on this Handspring Visor device running on Palm OS. As you may recall, back in the days before there was iPhone and BlackBerry and other modern devices, uh, there were this type of devices running the Palm OS platform. Palm OS was released, it's an operating system founded somewhere around 1996, and it is the primary operating system that most of these devices ran on. And they had many features and capabilities that evolved into what we know now as the modern day phones, such as Android devices and the iPhone. So this is the review, and let's get to it. The Handspring Visor was released in 2001, if I'm not mistaken, 2001. And this type of a handheld device used a stylus, very similar to many other Palm OS devices. What's different about this type of unit is that it wasn't made by Palm itself, but instead it was made by a company named Handspring. Handspring, from what I understand, Palm licensed Handspring. So the way that it used to work is that just like many Android devices nowadays from different vendors, they use the Android operating system. So Google licenses that OS and allows them to include features such as Gmail, YouTube, and web browsing such as Chrome and so on. So they have to pay a license fee or royalties to the vendor. So Palm used to behave in the very same way. So there were many vendors out there that used to make devices that ran the Palm OS platform, and such as Handspring. There was also Sony, if I'm not mistaken, the Sony Cleat line, and many other brands out there that they used to Palm OS used to license their operating system. So, well, the way that it used to work is that there was no keyboard on Palm OS devices, so many of the inputs you would have to enter them with this stylus, this pen-looking thing. It was called a stylus, and it had basic features across the board of all the Palm OS devices. So these were very common buttons that were standard on every Palm OS device. This was the home area. There was a shortcut to find calculator, find anything on the device, and if you wanted to go back to home, then you would hit here. And to navigate the ups and down, it had like this scroll buttons, so you would scroll up, down like this. Also, the Palm operating system had the ability to hot sync. It had the ability to synchronize all of the personal information manager, or PIM, what they used to call it. So back in the days, for office workers and executives and students, I would assume that if you used to have an Outlook account, you were able to synchronize all of your contact information, calendar entries, and even emails. And if you didn't have Outlook, then you would be able to use the proprietary HotSync application and install it on your computer. And then with these pins here, with these pins, you will be able to connect via a docking station, like a docking pod, or just by inserting a cable, a USB cable to your computer. So that is the way, my apologies. that is the way synchronization took place. So in the event that you had, let's say you had some 200 contacts, obviously you wouldn't want to be inputting those contacts one by one by hand. So it was much easier to just synchronize using your computer. But this is pretty much how you used to enter text. So for example, if I wanted to write John, as you can see, there is also like a tutorial that teaches you how to use the graffiti. That's what it used to be called, graffiti. And take into account the that back in those days, emails were just beginning to be mainstream. Many other features that we take now for granted. Data capabilities. Back in the days, modems were very slow. They were as slow as 33 kilobits per second or 56K. This type of handspring device had an expansion card in the back, which these expansion cards used to convert into giving it different capabilities, such as, for example, if the device needed to be connected to the internet, so they would sell you an expansion card that had a modem, a connected modem via wire, not wireless, not that I know of. And once you would plug it in there, it was like some sort of PCIe, interface, if you would like, in modern days. And once you had the expansion card, then your device all of a sudden would turn into a cell phone, an internet modem, a fax modem, a camera, or any other modular feature that they would third-party vendors would build for these devices. The unit ran in a it runs on a two AAA batteries. And let me tell you that the batteries used to last a long time. When I used to use these devices back in those days, I would sometimes go up to 3 months without changing my battery. So you can have an idea of how long the battery would last before draining, and that's a lot. But also, you got to take into consideration that these were monochrome screens. So these are not like the full color screens that we have now on cell phones. So they didn't used to consume that much battery power. And also the resolution was very low. This resolution is rated at 160 by 160 pixels. So you can have an idea that the reason why battery used to last so long, and they were not connected. They were not connected to any internet. They didn't have a constant on connection. So a lot of reasons why the device used to last a long time. Other features that it used to have, you were able to play games. So you were able to either side load the games by downloading the application to your computer, and then transferring a file in the format of .prc. So any .prc file was compatible to install on a Palm operating system. As far as specifications for this device had a processor, a Motorola processor running at 33 megahertz. That was the the speed of the CPU. It had a maximum memory of 8 megabytes. It was a touchscreen, and believe it or not, it had a microphone. So the microphone, I would assume, was intended to either record memos or for the intentions of attaching an expansion card that would turn it into some sort of recording device. It ran on 2 AAA batteries. It had a voltage of 1.5 volts. And this specific model, if I'm not mistaken, is the Handspring Visor Neo. This was the Neo line, and along with this other line from Handspring, they released other versions, such as the Visor Pro, such as the Visor Edge. The Visor Edge was a very similar to this one, but in a thinner form factor. It was way thinner. And there was also the Visor Prism. And if I'm not mistaken, the Visor Prism or Platinum was able to have a color screen. It was one of the first devices released by Handspring that had a color screen. So as far as applications that it had built in, as you can see here, these are the applications that it had built in. And you know, address, calculator, very common apps that are also included in modern day devices such as iPhones and Android. The operating system, this operating system was running on Palm OS 3.5 if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to look at the version. Yeah, this in the 3.0. So this was running Palm OS 3 point something. And what was good about this version of Palm OS is that Palm was able to add to the interface of the operating system capabilities such as IR port, infrared port. So with this infrared port, you were able to, this device was able to communicate with other devices running on Palm OS. So it didn't matter if it was a Palm Pilot or if it was a Handspring Visor or a Sony client. So it used to connect by sending via the infrared port. You could send contact cards, you could send pictures, videos, short videos. This infrared port also used to serve as an IR remote control blaster, because I remember I used to use these I used to walk into like cafeterias and things like that, and they had a television turned on, and then I would play around and turn off their TV, and they wouldn't know what turned the TV off or lower the volume or put the volume up, just for like pranking purposes. So it was very fun back in those days, having a device that had an infrared port. And with the release of Palm OS 3.0 and up, many Palm OS devices began to include this feature, which the feature carry on all the way up to the Handspring, all the way up to the Trio line. The Trio, Handspring Trio, the Trio 600, the Trio 650, those were the keyboard cell phone versions of Palm OS devices that were actually one of the first cell phones out there that came out. They had a fully quaded keyboard, and alongside the BlackBerry brand. But that comes after. That was way before. After, these were the type of devices that most office employees, business people used to carry around, and geeks like me. You know, I used to play around with these devices a lot. I used to love them. I used to carry this with me. I used to have a Palm device with me at all times. That's where I used to store all my contacts, my calendar entries, and it used to keep me organized in every aspect of everyday activities. And you know, back in those days, these were the mainstream. These were the iPhones of those days. And you know, it's very nice to be able to go back in time and play around with one of these devices. Although they could be now considered obsolete, this unit works perfectly. It has no lag whatsoever, because it runs on its own proprietary operating system. So that is a big that is a big plus, to be able to open up one of these devices and turn it on and be able to look back in time. And another reason why that is because they used to use external batteries, and you know, the battery is not built in. I don't have to go to eBay and look for purchasing a battery of a device of this time. I just have to go to Walgreens, a pharmacy, buy a set of 2 AAA batteries, and that's it. Put them in there and the device turns on. I have been trying to install the hot sink utility, but I think I'm gonna have to run it like on a VM, a virtual machine, because I'm running Windows 10 and it may not be compatible. So this has been a retro review of the Handspring Visor running on Palm OS. If you do like the content that I upload out there, please hit a like and subscribe. Thank you very much, guys.